Moving day is a tradition, but not a legal requirement, in the province of Quebec, Canada, dating from the time when the province used to mandate fixed terms for leases of rental properties. It falls on July 1, which is also Canada Day. History: the tradition began as a humanitarian measure of the French colonial government of New France, who forbade seigneurs, the semi-feudal landlords of the seigneuries, from evicting their tenant farmers before the winter's snows had melted. Historian Ivan Deslorges notes that it was common to move in the spring in the 18th century, citing a 1750 bylaw by Intendant Frenay Section Bigot. Later, this evolved into a requirement that urban leases begin on May 1 and end on April 30. In law, this date was set in the Civil Code of Lower Canada of May 1, 1866, thus became Moving Day, the day during which renters who wished to vacate their current premises physically changed domiciles. In 1973, the Quebec government decided that it would be better to move Moving Day to the summer. This measure would allow children, especially the ones in primary school, to complete their full year at the same establishment. Also, by moving the date to a holiday, workers would not have to sacrifice a working day. This argument was strong for the tenants' rights groups representing the average poorer class. Moreover, they moved the date from May 1 to July 1 because of the rough weather of May. The law repealed sections of the Civil Code setting fixed terms for leases as of 1974, but mandated a 2-month lengthening of leases for following year as a transitory measure. However, tradition has held sway, and the vast majority of leases are still a year long and begin around July 1. In 2004, approximately 120,000 households moved on or around July 1, corresponding to 4% of the population. Impact: Moving Day is a boon and a headache for commercial moving companies, and people must reserve their services in advance, more than 6 months before Moving Day in some cases. During this period, moving companies work around the clock, with moving charges often being 3 times the normal rate. The short supply of movers in Montreal inspired entrepreneurs to offer a green moving service featuring heavy-duty bicycle trailers. In Montreal, whereas of 2002 only 36% of residents own their home, Moving Day is particularly busy and has been described as a kind of moving madness. Exterior staircases leading up to second, third, or even fourth-story apartments are common in many neighborhoods, in part because historically this reduced the size of buildings and therefore decreased the owner's property taxes. These staircases are often narrow, curved, and metal are not ideal for non-professionals carrying major appliances. Cities also schedule extra garbage and recycling pickups for this period to deal with unwanted furniture and empty boxes left beside the road. According to Hydro-Québec copyright Beck, more than 700,000 Quebec households moved in 2009, including 225,000 on the island of Montreal. The July 1 date of Moving Day also somewhat reduces the significance of Canada Day as a public holiday in Quebec, as many who might otherwise attend holiday festivities are occupied by moving. Suggestions that the move was a deliberate decision by Quebec's sovereigntists to discourage participation in a patriotic Canadian holiday ignore the fact that the change in date from May 1 to July 1 was the result of a bill introduced by a Federalist MNA, JAR copyright Rami Chiquette of the Quebec Liberal Party. Although Moving Day is seen as a headache for most people, Montreal-based columnist Joseph Copyright Illegal sees a few positive aspects in the annual festival, pointing out that July 1 occurs at the end of the school year, not 2 months before as was the case before the 1970s. Bargain hunters especially people who don't move also enjoy the numerous garage sales occurring before Moving Day and the common practice of leaving behind slightly used furniture and appliances on the curbside or in the alley, in effect giving them to anyone in need. The annual ritual has also been translated in Quebec's literature, music and cinema. Gabrielle Roy's classic novel Bonheur d'Occasion describes the traditional frenzies surrounding Moving Day in the working-class borough of Saint-Henri in Montreal. Quebec film director Philippe Gagnon used the yearly occurrence as the setting for Première Gillette, Le Film, a 2004 light-hearted comedy featuring 3 households caught in the turmoil of Moving Day. See also, Moving Day, Notes.